What we're going over today is the process of taking the New York State Department of Transportation Field Welder Qualification Test, all right, or our process right there. So basically the process of how this works. And it's a very common test given in New York State if you want to weld on bridges or anything that has to do with the DOT. And what we're doing today is basically giving you an overview of how to prep the plates and get ready for the test and what to expect through the testing process, all right? So the test can be done in two positions, 3G and 4G. So vertical groove or overhead groove. Usually people take the 3G first because it gives you 3 positions, and then they take the 4G after that once they've gotten their 3G to pass. It's 70/18 on a 1-inch thick groove plate. Now the plate dimensions, I'm going to pull up, I put a paper, I scanned a paper that has a print on it of the actual plate preparations. So I'm going to put that up on the screen here in a minute and show you the exact dimensions of the test plates. But it's 1 inch thick with backing for now. And you're going to fill it up with 1/8 inch or 5/32 diameter 70/18. Now this is a new development. When I took the test back in like 2001-ish, 2-ish, something like that, and you had to use 5/32 of an inch 70/18. They got rid of that, and you can take it with either 1/8 inch or 5/32. The advantage of taking it with 1/8 inch is a lot of times you'll have problems with arc blow with 5/32 of an inch diameter 70/18. You don't have as many problems with 1/8 of an inch. So that's a real new development that's an advantage for the person taking the actual test. All right, so low hydrogen electrode 70/18 is, so when you're getting ready to take the test, you're going to want to either crack a new can of it, or you're going to bake it at 250 degrees, the electrodes, as well as the test plate. So when you get the test plate prepped up, you throw it in the rod oven overnight, and then you'll be ready to go in the morning when you get ready to take your test. Also, the interpass temperature should be around 250 degrees as well. So as you run a bead, you get a temp stick out or one of the new digital thermometers, and make sure that it's below 250 degrees before you run that next bead. Don't get it too hot, especially when you're doing vertical up, you can have it fall out at the top. So you don't want to get it too hot. So you're going to want to do an interpass temperature of 250 degrees, give or take a little bit of the temperature there. You have 4 hours to do the test, and when you complete the test, you grind it flush, right? And when you grind it flush, if you go 1/16 of an inch or more of convexity in the plate, they're going to reject it. So you want to make sure you don't take too much off. So I wrote right here, less than 1/16 of an inch when you're grinding this flush. The grinding portion of it isn't within the 4 hours. That's just the welding. So you got 4 hours to weld it, then you grind it, and you don't want to take more than 1/16 of an inch off. All right. So we're going to go up here. Cleaning, so interpass cleaning, you're allowed to use hand chipping hammers, wire brushes, and picks, and they added this as well from when I took it the last time, mechanically powered wire wheel, which is a big help, right? Because if you're in the field and you got slag, you need to get it out of there, you're going to grab a wire wheel and wire wheel it out, so that's good that you're allowed to do that too. So what we're going to do now is print up. Well, I'm going to put 2 prints up. One of them is going to show you where the tack welds go, and the other one is going to show you the dimensions of the plate. So we're going to put that up on the screen, and then I will talk about how you actually tack this thing up and get ready to do the test. So here we go on the screen. All right, so here's the print on the screen, and one thing I forgot to tell you when cleaning is you're not allowed to use grinders. You can't grind the weld out, and you're not allowed to use anything that will alter the weld profile, so AKA no grinders. That's a kind of a big thing to leave out in the cleaning process. So I just want to mention that real quick before we look at this print. Now here's the dimensions of the actual test plates that you're going to be doing the test on, and you can see they're 5 inches right here. All right, so it's 5 inches by 3 inches into here. All right, with a 1/4 inch root opening. You can see that up there. And the bevel is going to be 45 degrees included. So you're going to have to bevel these at 22.5 degrees. And what I'm going to do is set up a mill out there, and I will show you the beveling process that I'm going to do once I get out there. So 22.5, bevel both plates, which will give you 45 degrees. Again, you can see 1/4 of an inch root opening. And let's go down here to the backing, and you can see it's 3 inches wide by 3/8 of an inch thick. All right. So in summary, 1 inch thick by 3 inch wide by 5 inch long plates with a 1/4 inch root opening, 45 degree included angle, and your backing is 3/8 of an inch thick by 3 inches wide by 5 inches long. One thing I wanted to point out though is 5 inches right here, and you can see plus 1/4 of an inch, minus 0. So the tolerance on this is plus 1/4 of an inch, minus 0. So when I cut these at, I wrote it down here, what would I cut them at? 5 1/32 of an inch. So I'm going to cut these at 5 1/32 of an inch. So I'm a little bit over 5 inches because you can't be below. And then the backing plate I'm going to cut at, where did I write that? 5 1/16. So I'm going to cut this backing here at 5 1/16 to make sure that I'm at least past these plates a little bit, and I'm still well within the tolerance of plus 1/4 of an inch. One more thing I want to mention is I'm going to cut these on a saw. You can cut them on a shear, but the problem is when you cut them on a shear is it's going to smash the ends down a little bit. It's going to compress the metal right at the ends, and it won't give you a nice square cut. So I'm going to cut them all on a saw to make sure that there's nice square cuts, because the fit up is essential here. Very critical fit up. You don't want to have any gaps, and if you cut it with a shear, you might get a little bit of a gap here where the backing is touching the actual test plates. So what we're going to do now is pull up the print that shows you how to tack this thing. It's just going to give you suggested tack spots and I believe dimensions. So we'll look at that next, and then we'll get out and start milling these plates. All right, here's a quick look at the print that shows you where the tacks go, and you can see the tack welds are 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is get this all, clamped together, and I'll probably just put a spot where each one of these 1 inches go, and then I'm going to run the spot over, because the clamps will get in the way as you're fitting this up. So if you just spot weld it, well, not spot weld it, but put a small tack where each one of these 1 inch welds are, then you can run it over and be comfortable while you're tacking it. Another thing I wanted to mention is you can see right here, mill scale to remain on each face is 1 inch from the edge here. So you got to grind your mill scale. I forgot to mention that. The backing plate, I'm gonna show you how to grind it when we get out there. I'm gonna start with a hard stone, move to a 36 grit flat disc to get the mill scale off the backing bar, and then you can see it's telling you to make sure you got the mill scale off at least that far out. I think it's 1 inch. Yeah, it's up there. 1 inch from the edge. You don't want to have the mill scale ground like into where the backing bar is, because believe it or not, it's taking material off, so it could leave a little bit of a gap if the plate was touching a spot that hadn't been ground, and then the spot that was ground was in here. You could again cause bad fit up and have a little gap maybe in here that you don't want. So fit up is extremely critical. So remove mill scale from any spot where you're going to weld. If you're welding it, you want to make sure there's absolutely no mill scale on there. So what we're going to do now is get out there and mill these. Then we'll get into fitting up we'll do the grinding portion of the backing bar, and then we'll get into the fit up of the actual plates with the backing bar. So let's get it done. So here we are at the mill. We got the head tilted 22.5 degrees. So when you put the two together, once you get the second one done, it'll be 45-degree included angle, with a 1/4 inch gap in the backing. So what we'll do is, as we're going across this, we're going to bring it back, raise it up 50, go across this, bring it back, raise the table up 50 until we get all the way across the entire plate here, right up to this corner right here. Once we're done with that, we'll take a look at the finish, and we'll go from there. So let's speed this up. Okay, here's a look at our plate right out of the mill. And it does leave a bit of a burr, so what I'm going to do is tackle that with a file, and then we'll take another look at this bad boy. Alright, I just took all the burrs off with a file. I'm going to cut one more, and then I'll show you the two together, and then we'll start working on that backing bar. I just got done cutting the second plate. There they are with about a 1/4 inch gap. So what we'll do now is go over and start working on this backing bar, and then we'll tack this baby up. Alright, so we just saw cut this 5 inch 1/16 plate, and that's what we're going to use for backing. I drew
some soapstone lines on here. So what I'm going to do is hit it with a hard stone to where all the grinding lines are going like the soapstone is, and then we're going to put a 36 grit flat disc on, and we'll have them all going the opposite way. So basically you make the lines go one way, put the sander on, then make them go the other way, and then we'll be ready to put this backing bar on. But what I'll do now is start with the hard stone, show you that, then we'll go to the 36 grit flapper, and then we'll show you the final product, and we'll get this thing fit up. We just got done with our hard stone. You can see all the grinding marks are going like this. Now what I'm going to do is turn the grinder perpendicular, put on a 36 grit sand or a flap disc, and then all the lines are going to go like this. And the idea of switching the direction of the lines is that you're going to ensure that you get all that mill scale off. So I'll get the 36 flap disc, hit it, and then we'll look at it again, and then we'll start tacking this together. So what we got going on here is I got a straight edge down here. I lined up the two plates. They're upside down, obviously. And then I got a 1/4 inch piece of hot rolled steel, put it in there to establish the gap. Now I'm going to vice grip each side down, and then we'll get ready to put the backing bar on. We'll take another look after I put the vice grips on. Alright, so we got this thing vice grip down on the outside, of course, because you still got to put the backing bar in here, but you can eliminate that. Now you know you got a perfect 1/4 inch gap. I would check it with a measuring tape just in case something happened. Now we're going to pull our straight edge off the bottom here, which is just an aluminum square tube. And now I'm going to mark where I'm going to put the backing bar, and then we will get that on there. And I'll show you that once I get the marks done, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so what we got going here now, I drew the lines, I put the C-clamp in the middle, put a lot of force on it. That should be perfectly straight. So what we're going to do now is put some tacks on here, some smaller tacks according to that sheet that I showed you earlier, and then we'll do some long welds, some 1-inch welds like it said on the sheet, and finish this thing up. So right now what I'll do, I'll just get this thing tacked up to where I can move it around and don't have to worry about it moving out of its dimensions. So you can see I just did a little bit of a tack in all the areas you're supposed to tack it, and now I'm going to put the 1-inch weld over top of all those tacks, and we'll have this baby all fit up and ready to go. Alright, we got this thing hard welded, 1-inch tacks all the way around for a grand total of 2, 4, 6, 8. What we'll do now, I'll flip it over so you can get a look at the fit up. Alright, that's a pretty good look, I think. So there's just one thing left to do when you're going to take this DOT test the next day, and we'll get at that right now. I just want to do one quick look at the groove before we do our final step here. So this is a final look at the plates, all tacked up, 100% correct. So on to the final step. One last thing before I show you the final step in preparing for the test. I had a guy complete one, so I figured I'd show you a completed one real quick. And when you complete it, you got to grind it flush, and you can't go down a 1/16 or more in the middle, or they will reject it. So you got to make sure you don't grind too much, is what I'm getting at. So that's what a completed test looks like after you grind it flush. Then you mail it out to Albany to get radiographed. So now we'll look at the final step in preparing to take the test, even though we just got done with one. Last part of the process, take your plates, put them in the rod oven the day before you take the DOT test, to get that baby to a crisp 250 degrees preheat, if you can. if you have to travel to a facility, you really can't do that. But if you are prepping it in the facility, you're going to take it in the next day, you throw it in the rod oven, give it a nice little preheat. That's all we got for today. Thanks for watching and subscribing to TV Weld, and hopefully that gives you a good idea on how to prep for the New York State Department of Transportation welding test. We're out.